Okay, so we're looking at the Pearson BTEC Level 3 National Extended Diploma in Business. We're looking at Learning Game A, explore the features of different businesses and analyze what makes them successful. And we're looking at Unit 1, Learning Game A, A2 now. Okay, so stakeholders and their influence. We'll be covering stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders, and the influence of stakeholders on business success. So again, we're looking at P2, explain how two contrasting businesses are influenced by stakeholders. So the same two businesses you selected for your P1 task we'll be using for our P2 task. We'll be using for the whole of assignment 1. So stakeholders, the definition, interested or affected by a business, okay, or business's activities or operations. So we've got internal stakeholders. Internal stakeholders are owners, who are also can be known as shareholders if it's a PLC, public limited company, or LTD, a private limited company. Okay, we've also got managers. So these are the people that are involved in the process of the day-to-day runnings of a business. Okay, the managers who you actually see in the store. And we've also got employees, so the workers, the workforce, the people that interact with the customers and provide them with information or try and make the sale. We've got external stakeholders. These are your suppliers, so people that supply products, raw materials to the business. We've also got lenders, okay, so people that lend money to the business. Competitors, so any competition that a business might have. So for example, Asda's competition may be Tesco's or Sainsbury's. We've got debtors and we've got creditors. Now a debtor is when a business owes another business or organization money, and a creditor is a business or organization to whom money is owed. Okay, so for example, if Tesco takes a loan from a bank, Tesco is the debtor and the bank is the creditor. Another example is if Tesco takes products from their suppliers and pays them at a later date. Tesco is the debtor because they owe the suppliers money, and the suppliers are the creditor. Okay, they're waiting to be paid. They're basically giving Tesco's a loan in the form of goods. Okay, and they're waiting to be paid at a later date. We've got customers. An easy one. So customers are an external stakeholder. We've got government agencies and departments. So we've got local, national and international government agencies and departments. So for example, a local government agency or department could be Waltham Forest Council. Okay, they're quite local. You've got national, which could be the Department for Education, okay, who oversees schools and colleges, or the Department for Transport, okay, who oversees the different transport in the country, okay, your taxi services, your train services and the bus services. You've also got international government agencies and departments. So for example, the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, who gives other countries loans depending on if they can follow their procedures or if they can follow their instructions, and they're entitled to certain loans or grants. We've also got pressure groups. So these are groups that put pressure onto businesses. For example, certain businesses might use animal fur. So these certain pressure groups might put pressure on the businesses by protesting outside and making it known to other people that these businesses are misusing animals or harming them in the process of their operations. Okay, you've got interest groups as well. Interest groups are groups that have an interest in a business. An example can be trade unions. And a trade union is an organization that looks out for the interests of its employees, usually, so the workers in a business. And you usually pay like a monthly subscription to a trade union. So teachers have a trade union, which is called the NEU, National Education Union, where we pay a certain amount of money every month, and if for whatever reason we feel like we're being what's the word here? Maybe maybe if we're being done wrong or wrongfully, we can go to our trade union, who would then represent us and talk to the school on our behalf, and just say, what the issues are and what's going wrong, and they'll act like an intermediary sometimes and try and just to come to a common ground sort of thing. Where the employee feels that they can't, or maybe that they've tried and they're not being listened to. Okay, a trade union can also send a solicitor if it gets to that stage to represent the employee. Okay, so those are the internal and external stakeholders. And again, these are stakeholders because they are either interested or affected by a business and their decisions. Now, we've got some stakeholders on the left. We haven't picked all of them, we've just picked a few. And we've got their wants and needs. So owners, what do they want, or what are their needs from a business? Okay, so the owners or the shareholders, they want the business to be successful. Okay, they want the business to be successful so their share value increases, or so they receive a higher dividend. Okay, and again, some owners, if it's not a PLC or an LTD, some owners just want the business to be successful so they increase their profits. Okay, we've got managers. Managers want the business to be successful, maybe so that they get a promotion. Okay, employees, what they want is job stability, and they want decent pay as well, fair pay, fair wages. Suppliers want to be paid on time. Okay, and they want the business to be successful so that they stay in a long-term contract with the business. Customers want low prices, but they want high-quality goods as well, or high-quality services. They also want great customer service. Okay, they want to be treated well when they go into a store. The local community, or the community, want the business to operate in the best interest for their locality. Okay, if it's a new business starting up, they want that new business to provide jobs. They want them to operate in an environmentally friendly way. They don't want the business to be littering. Okay, for example, sometimes if you go to your local McDonald's, you see a lot of litter on the floor. You want the local community don't really want to see that. They want the business to be continuously maybe picking up litter. Okay, and not to be having waste around the floor or around the area. Government agencies or the government. Okay, the government want the business to pay their taxes on time, and they want them to pay their taxes in full as well, and they want them to operate within legal frameworks. So they want them to follow the laws of the country that they're operating in. We've also got pressure groups, so animal rights activists. They want the business to not exploit animals in their production or operations. Okay, so these are the different stakeholders and some of their wants and needs. Obviously, we've got more stakeholders, so if you wanted to do some research, just try and find out what their wants and needs are. Now we've got the same stakeholders, and we've got their influence. Okay, so how they influence a business. Okay, so owners, they can influence a business through their investment, through the shares that are bought in the company. Alright, and then their shareholder value, they want that to increase. So the way owners can influence a business is again through their investment. A business will want investors or to become owners, okay, and they become owners by buying shares in a business. Through purchasing shares, a person becomes a part owner of that business. Okay, and through demanding shares and purchasing more shares, that should raise the shareholder value. It should raise the share value. Okay, managers, they coordinate resources, their management, their experience, the training that they provide employees. This should influence a business, okay, and their success. If a manager can coordinate resources and manage their employees successfully, well, then this should reflect the business. Okay, the business should then be successful in turn. Okay, employees, how do they influence a business? Well, if employees receive good training, they should be able to provide a higher customer service, and this in turn should allow customers to feel satisfaction, and they should become repeat purchases. Or should repeat purchase. Okay, they should buy products over and over again and become repeat customers. Employees can receive bonuses, which should motivate them to work harder for the business, and they can receive bonuses, that is. And some employees can be a part of an employee share scheme where a business can give their employees some of the shares of the business. Okay, that way an employee feels that they're part of the business, and again they're more motivated to put in 100% because the success of the business means and the success of their shares that they own. Suppliers influence a business through their flexibility, their quality of goods or services that they provide a business, and their reliability. Okay, usually suppliers have to deliver the products maybe on a weekly basis, a monthly basis. They have to be reliable. They have to come at a certain time. If they don't come at that time, it's not good for the business, is it? That business won't be able to supply that product. Customers may be upset. That could lead on to negative word of mouth. Okay, so businesses need good suppliers, and their influence again is through their flexibility, the quality of products that they provide, and their reliability. Customers spread positive word of mouth due to the customer service that they receive from employees. Okay, and if they can spread positive word of mouth, and if they become repeat purchases, this is what all businesses want. Okay, they're looking for not just new customers, but they want customers to become repeat purchases. Okay, become repeat customers. For example, your supermarkets. Usually, we're supermarket loyal. Okay, we're loyal to certain supermarkets. Me personally, I enjoy going to Asda or Tesco's. I'm not really a fan of Sainsbury's. There's no real reason of that. Maybe if there was a Sainsbury's next to me, I'd probably go to them. But I've got a Tesco's next to me, so I usually go to them. And I've got a club card as well, so that entices me to spend more with them, so I can save money. So customers are seen as long-term assets. Businesses want them to be long-term assets to continuously purchase from them. We've got the local community as well. They usually influence a business through spreading positive word of mouth as well and raising awareness. We've got government agencies. They may hand out fines. Okay, so they influence businesses through their fines. If a business isn't operating correctly, following the laws, they may be fined. Okay, so this is a way of influencing them. And government agencies can also provide grants. So if businesses operate in a certain way, they may be entitled to a grant. Or if a business decides to open in a certain area, they may be entitled to a grant. Okay, or if they follow a certain rule which the government wants them to follow, or if they meet certain standards, they will be entitled to a grant. Okay, and remember, a grant isn't the same as a loan. A grant is a lump sum of money which is given to a business and which doesn't need to be paid back, whereas a loan is given to a business but needs to be paid back with interest. We've also got pressure groups again, so animal rights activists, their influence. Now, pleasing this group will lead to a positive word of mouth, and people should purchase more products from you. Okay, if people see that animal rights activist groups are happy with you, or that you are operating in an ethically correct manner, people will be more happy to purchase from you. The other day, I was buying bananas from Tesco's, and there were two types of bananas. Okay, there was the normal bananas, which were a bit cheaper, and then there were the organic bananas, and it had the fair trade symbol on it as well, which meant that the suppliers have got their bananas from people that they are paying a fair wage to, and they're not exploiting them. Okay, whereas the other banana or bananas, they could have been purchased from suppliers which were exploiting their employees. Okay, so I personally decided to go with the fair trade organic bananas, which were a bit more pricier, but I'm happy and prepared to pay that price due to their corporate social responsibility. Okay, due to them, not taking advantage of their workers. Okay. Now, so how is a business influenced by stakeholders? I've got an example here, Asda and their customers. So we're looking at the customers, okay? We're going to have to look at each stakeholder, or a few stakeholders, a few internal stakeholders and a few external stakeholders. Right now we're looking at one of our external stakeholders, which is the customers. Okay, so how do they influence and affect the business decisions and their activities? How do customers do that? How do they influence business decisions? How do customers make a business do something, for example? Okay, so customers influence and affect the business decisions and their activities through their wants and needs. That should say and needs, not a needs, and needs. If customers want a certain product to be stocked, then Asda will have to provide this product. For example, if customers demanded clothing, then Asda would have to provide this. And Asda has done this with their George clothing line. Asda's George clothing line provide low price clothing but at a great quality, and this satisfies their customers' needs. Okay, and if you want, you can be more specific, and you can say parents demanded lower priced school clothing, for instance, or school uniform, or just children clothing. Okay. Now, how do they influence business success? So that first paragraph shows us how customers influence business decisions. Okay, customers want a certain product, so the business decision was to provide that certain product. Okay, through launching that at the George clothing line. All right. Now, the second paragraph, the second question says, how do they influence business success? Then, how does that influence business success? So, customers influence Asda's success through their purchases. If customers are satisfied with Asda's George clothing line, they will remain loyal customers. Therefore, they will continue to purchase clothing from Asda. They will also spread a positive word of mouth, which will in turn attract more customers to purchase from Asda. This contributes to Asda's success positively, as they should see an increase in sales and profits. Okay? And then we've got the last question there. So that second paragraph shows us how they influence business success then. Now we've got the last paragraph. What happens if the stakeholders' needs are not met? If customers' needs are not met, this could lead on to a negative word of mouth, loss of customers, loss of sales, and loss of profit. Customers will also decide to go to competitors' stores instead, such as Tesco's, causing Asda to lose market share. Okay, so in your coursework, this is how you will need to answer your P2. Okay, I'll provide you with a structure sheet, so there's certain questions you have to answer. However, this is what you need to be emulating, okay, or doing similarly with the other stakeholders. Okay. So we will now complete P2, explain how two contrasting businesses are influenced by stakeholders, and I will now go over the structure sheet with you. Okay, so thanks for listening.